Open your fridge, now your freezer. Now picture the bar down the street. The beer, the ketchup, the burger, the mac and cheese. They feel about as American as it gets. Here's the part nobody tells you. A lot of it traces back to three guys from Rio. Not a factory, not a farm. A way of running companies. And they sold it to America. Start with the scale because it's genuinely hard to believe. The biggest brewer on the planet is a company called AB InBev. Budweiser. Corona, Stella Artois, over 400 brands. Last year it reported around $59 billion in revenue. 1 in 4 beers on earth. Then there's Burger King, Tim Hortons, Popeyes, Firehouse subs, more than 32,000 restaurants, and then Heinz, Kraft. The ketchup, the mac and cheese, the Oscar Mayer. All of it sits on top of the same small group of Brazilian investors. The brands scream America. The capital came from a bank in Rio. This is the same trick I showed you with JBS, the company that owns a quarter of America's beef. But the mechanism here is completely different. JBS bought the supply chain with state money. These guys bought the brands with debt, with Warren Buffett, and with a method. It starts in 1971. A Harvard grad named Jorge Paulo Lemann. No bank, no name in finance. So he ran a newspaper ad. Brokerage wanted. He bought a tiny one and called it Garantia. 1 open room, no walls between partners and staff. 14-hour days. And one rule that mattered more than any other. The best performers became owners. 2 men rose fastest, Marcel and Beto Sicupira. The 3 of them became a unit. And they got restless just running a bank. In the early 80s, they bought a struggling retailer and ran it their way. Then a beer company, Brahma. Then they merged it into AmBev. Then AmBev merged with a Belgian brewer to become InBev. Each time, same crew, same method, bigger stage. Here's the thing the headlines miss. Their export was never beer or burgers or ketchup. Their export was a way to run a company. 3 rules. Owners think like owners. The best people get everything, the rest get cut. And the famous one, zero-based budgeting. Most companies build next year's budget from last year's plus a little. Zero-based means you justify every single dollar from scratch. Every year. From zero. It is brutal, and for cutting fat, it is devastatingly effective. So they pointed it at America. In 2008, InBev took over Anheuser-Busch, $52 billion. Budweiser, America's beer, now run from the outside. In 2010, they bought Burger King and took it private. Then the move that changed everything. In 2013, they teamed up with Warren Buffett to buy Heinz. $23 billion, Buffett's name on a Brazilian playbook. 2 years later, they bolted Kraft onto Heinz. A $40 billion merger. Capital plus reputation plus method. For a decade, it looked unstoppable. So let me give you the read from inside Brazil. This is not the JBS story. With JBS, the state bank funded a champion to buy up meat packers. That was vertical integration on a national credit card. Buy the chain. This is the opposite. Private capital, leveraged buyouts. A billionaire partner in Omaha. And what they shipped wasn't a supply chain. It was a manual. Brazil exported a management system to the country that invented the MBA. American funds spent the 2010s copying zero-based budgeting. The lesson the trio understood early. You don't need to invent the product. If you can run a great business better than the people who built it, you can own it. That's an arbitrage. And for 30 years, it printed money. But here's where the honest part comes in. A method has a ceiling. And Kraft Heinz hit it. Zero-based budgeting is a scalpel for fat. The problem is a brand isn't fat. A brand is built with the opposite of cutting. Patient money in product, in marketing, in new ideas. They cut marketing, they cut research. They cut to the bone to hit the margin. It worked on the balance sheet for a few years. Then shoppers walked to newer brands and store labels. In 2019, Kraft Heinz took a $15 billion write-down. Even Warren Buffett admitted it. We overpaid. The knife had cut muscle, not fat. By the end of 2023, the Brazilians had sold their entire Kraft Heinz stake. And in 2025, the company announced its splitting in two, unwinding the whole $46 billion merger. The press called it Buffett's $57 billion faceplant. The same method that conquered America's fridge couldn't keep one of its brands alive. So, what do you actually take from this? The beer empire is still standing, AB InBev is still number one. But the food story is the one that teaches you something. You can buy a beloved brand. You can squeeze a fortune out of it. But you cannot cut your way to building one? 3 guys from Rio proved both halves of that sentence, the up and the down. That's the part nobody outside Brazil connects. Now, you do. If you missed it, go watch my video on JBS. Same shock, completely different machine. I'm building from inside Brazil. I'll see you in the next one.